Hello, citizens of Los Santos. Welcome back to the Lawless podcast. Today we're joined here by the head of band appeals, Sergio. Say hi.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I've been a big fan since the beginning, and it's nice to finally be here.
That's great. Unfortunately, we won't be having our co-host Jack Kenobi here due to problems that come with the different time zones that we have. Since every time we film a podcast, it's either midnight for him or midnight for me. So that's actually a pretty big barrier for us, but we try to get through it. But this time, Jack was really tired and he had to go to sleep, so it's going to be just me and Sergio right now. In today's podcast, we'll be talking about the Ban Appeals team, which Sergio leads, as well as the new update that was released by Barney. I'm sure you all are thinking, where's Barney? Where's the Barney podcast? You will be seeing it next week. Trust me, we had to delay it since Barney has a very tight schedule, and plus he's working, so we couldn't really get it out this week, but rest assured you'll have it next week. Alright, so getting into our podcast topic for today, the ban appeals. So Sergio, approximately when did you take over the ban appeal team?
So, I finished my military service in May 2019. So, I think it was around either late June or early July in 2019. So, it's gonna be a year soon.
Yeah, so it's been almost a year that you've been the head of ban appeals. That's pretty good. Um, So tell me about the moment you took over the band appeals. Like, how was the situation? Did you change anything? How did you approach the new task that you were assigned? Like, tell me everything about it.
So, the transition was pretty easy because I had a great friend of mine, Roy Hercules, as my supervisor. So he helped me to, get used to everything. But
Right.
the tasks wise, did I change anything? Not really, because our department's standard procedures are very straightforward and there's just not much to change. Probably my biggest change I've implemented as the director were the new hacking punishments in November of 2019, when we completely revamped the punishments for using illegal modifications. But other than that, I haven't really changed much.
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure there's a question that all of our players would love to know the answer to. How should a person approach a ban appeal? How do they post a ban appeal in hopes to getting a good result, the least time possible to be banned? How should they like go through this process? What's your
Yes.
advice?
So our main purpose as moderators is to review each ban in a fair and reasonable manner, which is why, I expect the same from the players. Our goal is to handle them with a professional and calm attitude. So if the player is calm and collected with us, the outcome will be better for both parties. And if we see that the player is willing to cooperate with us, then we will make sure the appeal is being handled very quickly with a fair decision.
Right, and I think one of the most important qualities of a player posting a ban appeal should be honesty.
Absolutely, yeah. Honesty goes a long way with us, and especially me. And if a player is being honest, then we can always work out a solution, which usually ends up being a very short sentence or even an unban.
So, in perspective, give us a few examples of what a person can get after being honest and what they can get after lying in their ban appeal. Is the ban period much larger? Is it shorter? Like, how does that works in terms of numbers?
Well, the length of the bans are pretty much set in advance for us. Of course, there's room for us to play around with it if obviously a player is being honest, or even the opposite sometimes. But usually we go by the book, which in our case is the rules page. So that's why there's not a lot room to improvise. Uh, obviously it's also depending on the case and number of previous offenses. We can easily sentence a person to a ban without having to think about it too much, and we all we always consider the player's history, and if if it's like their first time being banned and they're straight up being honest for us with us, then I don't see any reason to keep them banned for long, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I've personally seen some examples in the ban appeal section where a person who has admitted to whatever they've done in their offense is, for example, a month-old ban, they've gotten like 15 days instead. So it's been cut in half. Half.
Yeah, exactly. And I always believe in second chances, and you know, people make mistakes, and people, if people convince me that they're willing to learn from these mistakes, then I'm always willing to give them this chance.
Also, speaking of believing in second chances, I think one of the prime examples of that in our admin team is Simon Walker, right? Because like him and second chances like go very close together. Since if somebody admits to hacking in their first offense, he usually just lets them play and unbans them.
Yeah, exactly, and I do agree with it to some extent, and yeah, we try to keep our relations with the hacking team close, and our cooperation is very good. So I trust Simon and what he's doing, and he's just trying to do the best what's best for the server.
Speaking of your relationship with the hacking team, could you tell us a bit more about it? Like what goes into your cooperation during a ban appeal when it comes to a hacking offense?
Yeah, our relation with the hacking team is obviously very close since we're kind of related, and the hacking team discusses each case individually, and then they give us their opinion whether they think the evidence is sufficient or not. I would say like 99% of the time when they mark the case as sufficient, it's evident that the player is guilty. Uh, However, that doesn't mean when hacking investigation says the evidence is sufficient, it doesn't mean the player remains banned. At the end of the day, we review the evidence ourselves and come up with the final verdict. And I can tell you, not many, but there have been some cases where the hacking team marked the case as sufficient, but the ban appeals department ended up unbanning the player. But it's very, very rare, and I trust the hacking team, and I know that they put in hard work, so I respect it.
Right, of course. All right, well, why don't you tell us about your team, your ban appeal team, and what goes into your cooperation? Is it like, does one sole person handle ban appeal themselves without any help, or do you guys discuss everything? Do you have ban discussions? Do you work together towards like every ban appeal? And how is the process of like just handling ban appeals as a team?
So my team consists of ban moderators who review the bans issued to a player, and obviously we discuss everything. My moderators have the freedom to handle the appeal themselves, but on our group chat and in my PMs, they usually like hit me up when they need help, and I'm always willing to help them out.
Right. Now, could you tell us about one or two ban appeals that have you always remembered that have caught your attention, and do you think that they're like exemplary ban appeals of how somebody should approach it? Like, and could you like give advice to our players who are maybe banned to like be like that or something along the lines?
The most memorable ones usually are when a known player gets banned, and these are kind of like complicated ones because these known players know how to, you know, defend themselves, and
Right.
they kind of understand the techniques how to prove us the administrators wrong. So
Talk their way out of
yeah,
it.
exactly, and yeah, definitely the appeals where known players get banned are the most memorable ones. But You just need to relax. You need to trust yourself. You need to review the evidence, and if you have any additional evidence, you need to obviously provide it. And yeah, that's it. Just because he's a known player doesn't mean you're not right.
Exactly. So talking your way out of a ban appeal seems to be pretty useless as far as the verdict goes, right?
Absolutely. There's as long as I'm the director, no one can talk their way out of their appeal.
Right, exactly. Tell us about your assistant director.
My assistant currently is Crit. At the beginning, when I assigned him, he was obviously very active, and he was a quick learner. At first, he didn't really know how to handle appeals with, using common sense and in fair manner. But over the time, he developed, and it was very quick. His numbers were high, and his knowledge was great. It still is, but he's been having some issues in real life, and he's been inactive. So, but that's okay. I expect him to be back soon and get those numbers up again.
Right, I've noticed, but as I saw in SD Element notes, you've been handling the ban appeals yourself pretty well, and I would also like to know about the junior administrators, and the way you guys guide them through ban appeals, and the way they work with your team.
Yes, so when junior administrators get hired to the team, they need to go through certain stages, and one of the stages is handling appeals in my department. So they come to me. I assign them as kind of like temporary ban moderators, and they need to handle a certain amount of appeals in the given time. And usually, I give them some kind of freedom, but at the end of the day, I don't. I review the appeals myself and make sure they're making the right decision before I let them proceed.
Right, and how do they usually handle the ban appeals? Do you think there's more errors in them since they're just recently hired junior admins? And
Uh,
how do you approach these errors?
yeah. So of course, when you've never been an administrator before, I can tell it from my own experience when I had to do this ban appeal stage in my junior admin stage. I didn't understand anything. It was a whole new world for me, and it was so complicated. So I tried to make it as easy as possible for them, knowing how difficult and hard it is because of the amount of information that's coming in from you. So it's hard to process, but um, they're doing great. I'm supervising them, and yeah, none of them has messed anything up, so we're good.
That's great. And how long do those usually take for junior admins to complete their ban appeal stages?
I'm not sure from the top of my head how what's the like period of time it's been given, but usually it's like the faster administrators get them done in a day, but it also depends on how many appeals are out there, so it can
Yeah,
take up
exactly.
to like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, if you remember a few months ago, actually, I had to personally go through these rotations, and I'm pretty sure I got the ban appeals done in one day. Actually, I did all of the stages in 3 days, so it only took me 3 days to complete all of the stages. And I think this is very possible for every junior admin, and it's not impossible, right?
Yeah,
Do you agree?
absolutely. I even remember I wanted to hire you as my moderator, but you had some other ideas, so that was kind of disappointing.
Well, it led to this podcast, so I mean, can't complain, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm currently in assistant director of public relations and in the complaints team. But I mean, there might be some other doors for me in the future if I decide to switch things up. So you never know when you have Kent by your side, Sergio.
Yeah, we can discuss the terms. and make a contract soon.
Yeah, I'll sign my heart away. Anyway, let's talk about the update that was released yesterday. So, I mean, we've been having updates so often compared to before when we hardly ever saw updates. Everything has changed now for Lawless, and we get updates like, if not every week, every second week, right? And it's always so different and refreshing, especially when it comes to this update, because we've had a lot of new features. Have you experienced them yourself, or
Um,
have you not had the time to do so?
yeah, it's obviously great that the development team is very active now and pushing these updates in. I was online yesterday when Barney updated server, and I had the chance to try out the racing system. Yeah, I did one race and I won it, so I'm happy.
Right. Let's just go over the updates real quick and the main aspects of it. So let's start with the racing system. We actually teased this in the last podcast. We provided a screenshot of how it would work, which is why you should all watch podcasts, because you never know when there's a teaser for the new update and little spoiler. We will have those actually most of the times. So that's like one thing that's great about our podcast. You get to look into the future, something that you usually wouldn't know. We always have a scoop on the hottest things going on. So let's start with the race system. It's actually, we couldn't discuss everything about it in the last podcast since we couldn't just spoil the entire thing. But now that it's out, let's just go over the main aspects of it, where you can bet money, choose the laps, choose the track, vehicles. So I think this is going to be something that's going to help people make money. The ones who are like experienced and good drivers to be able to bet. I think the limit is $100,000. So I mean, if someone's really good and they want to bet 100K on a race, this can be a really good way to make money for players.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, yeah, it's a major feature, and I love it. First of all, it gives players something else to do rather than just roam around paintball and do nothing. So why not just go race your friends and challenge yourself and
Exactly.
see who's the better driver and put some money on the line.
Right. So let's talk about the rather controversial topic from the update, which is the new captchas. First of all, starting off, I'd like to mention that this was 100% needed in order for the security of the server to be buffed up because, um, I mean, things like these are where people find exploits and abuse our system, which is why an update like this was 100% necessary, but it has caused a lot of controversy as far as the captcha goes because some players find it very hard to make out the letters in it and sign the paycheck or matron, either way. And we've had a suggestion on the forums which has gained almost 80 likes. Um, I don't remember who posted it. Yeah, it was Sam. We had him on a podcast actually not too long ago. But rest assured, Bunny's informed about this, and he actually replied to the suggestion, and he will be taking the necessary measures to satisfy all of you as far as the captcha system goes. It will be adjusted, so it's much easier to sign, but the security will stay the same, and we will have no problems with exploiting players in the future.
Newsflash, Kent. At the time we're speaking, Barney actually updated the server today, and the capture system has already been changed. So when you match run, it doesn't ask for the captcha every run; it does it randomly.
Oh, it's already updated.
Yeah,
Oh, nice. Then it's already been settled. See, we just take care of problems in less than a day. Like, it's not even a problem, right?
exactly.
Like, I'm just doing my podcast right here, and there's a new update. Like, did I know? No. Uh, well, anyways, let's go to the accessory update. Actually, like 2-3 days ago, I went to the toy store. I mean, the clothes store to get some toys for myself. It was pretty difficult to like select the right toys. I had to Google the toys so I could see the pictures. I chose some of them. Then I went outside and my good friend, well, Slash told me that they were ugly, and my heart was broken. So I think that now with the new update, it's gonna be much easier to get the new toys. Do you use toys personally?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm not really a toy person. I've never used toys. Uh, but obviously, I have tried, and I didn't really like the menu at all because you can't preview what you're, choosing. And
Right. It's just text.
yeah, exactly.
Was.
So this update is pretty like revolutionary and helps people to, you know, preview what they're getting and really choose their products.
Right, exactly. And I really like this accessory system, and it's going to push me to use more toys in the future. So I think it will do the same with other players as well. Let's go over to the double job. So we've had double fisherman, double garbage man, double sweeper, but this time we have double pizza. The pizza job has gotten double payment. I I think what Barney is doing, he's taking some jobs that needs like a push for people to use them and putting a double payment on them. So like, what's the last time I saw somebody running around with a pizza bike? Like never, right?
Yeah,
Nobody really used that job.
yeah, exactly.
But when I logged in today, I saw a lot of people driving their pizza bikes around, making some money. So I think this is a good job choice to give a double reward to. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still remember the day when they introduced it first. They had like a sick trailer for it and hyped it up, and when it actually came, everyone was using the job because it was advertised as, one of the most profitable jobs. But over the course of time, it is kind of like being forgotten and it's dead. But to see that the job is being given a boost now, and maybe people start to recognize the job more and do it.
Right, exactly. And I look forward to future job updates with double payments. I'd love to see other jobs get this feature as well, which I'm sure it will, as it's been basically a usual feature in our updates to give a double payment for some job. So let's just remind people that once you log in, you will once again be rewarded $50,000, which rounds it up to 150K, which we have given out during our updates. Um, I mean, I love this feature basically because people who don't really have money, people who don't even have enough money to mat run or do jobs, this is something great for them. It gives them purpose to start working and use this money to make more money. But then we also have people who just run to a casino with this money and just give it all away instantly.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who like have kind of bad intentions with this money. People have a lot of different accounts and they kind of farm up some good amount of money. But yeah, for new players, it's obviously a very nice boost to their total wealth, and they can do a lot of it. They can, you know, invest this money into mat running and make profits, or just buy something nice for themselves.
All right, well, that's basically it for the update, as well as the discussions we've had for the ban appeal team, which brings this podcast to the end. I'd like to say you've been a very good guest, filling in without even Jack being here. I think this has been a great podcast, very interesting for players and for everyone else. Um, that's been it. Thanks for being here, Sergio.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It was fun. I'm a bit unfortunate that Kenobi was not here with us today. It would have been definitely would have been fun, but it was nice being here with you as well.
Right, we all missed Kenobi, but we will have him soon, as well as Barney. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next time.